Recently, I traveled to my native country of Kenya and met a couple with a remarkable story to tell. It is a story of hope born out of pain, a rescue center for abandoned babies in Nairobi. Let me introduce you to the creators of Happy Life Children's Home. The Nairobi Children's Center was opened 15 years ago by Reverend Peter Ndungu and his wife Faith. The two met after suffering personal tragedies.
Both of us in 1998 lost our spouses. He lost his wife 3 months after I lost my husband in the U.S. Embassy bombing of 1998. We realized that God had given us a second chance with a purpose for us to change the world and to do something.
Initially, Faith wanted to care for only 5 babies, but her husband had a different idea.
The 5 turned to 10 to 100 to more than 450, 15 years later.
Reverend Ndungu explains how the abandoned babies are rescued.
They are left on the streets, in the hospitals. We have rescued children from pit latrines, from the garbage, from the forest. We've had children, some of their limbs eaten away by animals.
This room hosts babies 6 months to a year before they are taken to the toddler's room. Sarah Kimani is the home's administrator.
Israel is almost his 11 months. We rescued him from a railway track. Somebody gave birth and put him in a plastic bag and put him on the railway track for the trains just to come run him over. We thank God that he saved his life.
As we continue talking to people, somebody will bring a feeding bottle, somebody will bring formula. And that is the story of Happy Life.
The couple also has the support of American pastor Jim Powell and his wife Sharon.
Our main job for Happy Life is to visit churches, to get partners, to raise funds.
The rescue center has also expanded its services.
I'm able to actually run the school, and now we are going to start the Jessica Medical Center, again to be able to give our children the medical care they need, but also children from the community.
Give me one of the stories probably most touching that you can probably never forget.
Now, Gideon was born by a 14-year-old girl, and she gave him up. The cardiologist who did the scan had to call his counterpart because there was no hole in his heart anymore.
Now walk us through that adoption. This is open to Kenyans only, or is the adoption open to people from other countries?
Yeah. Adoption used to be open to even the international people. Until 2014, there was a lot of stigma in Kenya about adopting. People would say, you bought a child. Over the years, Kenyans have actually come around. This year alone, 2017, we have had 18 adoptions.
Reverend Ndungu tells of a happy ending to twins adopted before the ban took effect.
We took in 2 boys that are twins, and they were thrown away in a plastic bag on the streets. After about a year, they were adopted in the U.S., and they live in the U.S.
Baby Grace was dragged by her ear from the forest by a dog to the roadside where she was rescued. As we were filming, the adoptive mom brought her for a visit.
Many Kenyans are coming and saying, I want these children to grow up in my home.
Once they complete the whole process, which should take around 6 months, and now have their birth certificate, the child is theirs.
Local and foreign volunteers come to feed the babies, change their diapers, and do laundry. Reverend Ndungu says everyone can help make the world a better place.
You may not change the whole world, but you can change the whole world for one child, because every life matters.
It's been almost 4 years since the beginning of South Sudan's civil war, and the consequences have been devastating for citizens, including children. According to UNICEF, more than 17,000 children have been conscripted to fight by rebels and government forces. At the 72nd anniversary of the United Nations in the country, leaders are committed to working towards restoring peace.
Give us peace in South Sudan. A plea for peace and a bright future make up the lyrics of the song on the lips of these confident children out of conflict orphanage in South Sudan.
A time is coming when I will be a teacher.
Many of them have experienced the ugly side of the war, which has ravaged the nation since 2013. The audience include diplomats and government officials attending the 72nd anniversary of the United Nations in South Sudan. Speaking at the event in the capital, Juba, the UN Special Representative of the Secretary General, David Shearer, echoes the voices of the vast majority of the South Sudanese he has met and urging leaders to silence the guns and give peace a chance.
I've met people from all regions, very different people, and each person has a unique story to tell, but almost everything that unites them in this country is the same thing. Their yearning and their desire for peace. They want to return home. They want their children to go to school. They want to be productive citizens. And they want to be, above all, self-reliant in forging their own future themselves.
Conflict in South Sudan since 2013 between government and rebel forces has uprooted families and led to hunger and suffering. Representing the government, Cabinet Affairs Minister says the transitional government of national unity is ready to work with partners to restore peace.
It is very encouraging that he chose United Nations South Sudan building the future together as the theme to celebrate this day. This is a very touching theme, one that gives hope to the long-suffering people of South Sudan, and also a theme that can inspire the Tigonu to strengthen its relationship.
Various UN organizations work in South Sudan to protect civilians, build durable peace, and create stability and development within the young nation. The day presents an opportunity for all UN agencies to highlight their efforts.
Today is an important day for us because it's an opportunity for all UN agencies, including UNHCR, to show all the good work that they are doing on behalf of the vulnerable populations in South Sudan.
The theme of the event reflects the mandate of the organization, United Nations in South Sudan, building the future together. The United Nations has been working in South Sudan for over 50 years, providing vital services such as food, access to clean water, sanitation, education, healthcare, infrastructural development, peacekeeping, policing, demining, human rights, and other forms of advocacy.
It's time now for a short break. Before we go, a reminder to visit our website, channelstv.com, for news and other programming around the clock. You can also find us at youtube.com/channelsweb. Still to come, dreams deferred. What is life for African migrants choosing to settle in Libya rather than continuing the journey to Europe? Well, that story after the break.